Ontario just announced a 25% surcharge on electricity. Of all things, you're not even allowed to do that because our tariffs are reciprocal. We'll just get it all back on April 2nd. Canada is a tariff abuser and always has been, but the United States is not going to be subsidizing Canada any longer. We don't need your cars, we don't need your lumber, we don't need your energy, and very soon you will find that out. Make America great again! My only reaction to this is exactly what this guy said, exactly what Armand said. We are so fucked. For him to casually say something like, we don't need your cars, we don't need your lumber, we don't need your energy. Like, to say he doesn't understand the way the global economy functions is a massive understatement. Like, this is a mistake that, like, a middle schooler wouldn't make. If you have 2 weeks of classes at Econ 101, you wouldn't do this, right? Which, again, begs the question, why is he actually doing it? It could be darker, it could be more nefarious, there could be ulterior motives. We'll do more on that in a little bit. But, of course, Community Notes comes in. Trump's 250 to 390% tariff claim is misleading. There are over-quota tariffs only charged in when imports surpass set quotas. They are rarely triggered and exist to prevent market flooding and economic emergency. Otherwise, these goods are traded with zero tariffs. Zero tariffs. Okay, so that's what we got in the morning, right? Or at night, the night before. Then we get this. Trump comes out and says, based on Ontario, Canada, placing a 25% tariff on electricity coming into the United States, I have instructed my Secretary of Commerce to add an additional 25% tariff to 50% on all steel, aluminum coming into the United States from Canada, one of the highest tariffing nations anywhere in the world. This will go into effect tomorrow morning, March 12th. Also, Canada must immediately drop their anti-American farmer tariff of 250 to 390%. We just discussed that's bullshit. On various U.S. dairy products, which has long been considered outrageous. I will shortly be declaring a national emergency on electricity with the threatened area. Hold on. You just said, we don't need your electricity. We don't need your lumber. We don't need your cars. Now you're like, oh, okay. National emergency. Which is it? Oh, my God. This will allow the U.S. to quickly do what has to be done to alleviate this abusive threat from Canada. If other egregious long-time tariffs are not likewise dropped by Canada, I will substantially increase on April 2nd the tariffs on cars coming into the U.S., which will essentially permanently shut down the automobile manufacturing business in Canada. This is a fucking top ally of ours. A top ally, and he's making them an enemy. For what? He continues, those cars can easily be made in the USA. Also, easily? They can be made in the USA? He doesn't understand. If you slap a tariff, that doesn't immediately lead to a manufacturing boom in the U.S. You need industrial policy. You need the government to subsidize the industries you want to flourish in the U.S. This is obvious to everybody except him. He thinks if you just do massive tariffs, boom, like American companies will want to come here and will want to set up shop and will want to make, factories. That's not the case. And in fact, what Trump did is he killed a bill that was passed by Biden to create 115,000 manufacturing jobs here in this country. It was the CHIPS Act. We were going to create microchip manufacturing here, and Trump said, I'm freezing the funding, we're not doing that. Well, how the fuck do you expect to bring manufacturing jobs back if you're killing the bill that does that? Because again, Jesus Christ. I have an aneurysm, bro. Those cars can easily be made in the USA. Also, Canada pays very little for national security, relying on the United States for military protection. We are subsidizing Canada to the tune of more than $200 billion a year. Why? This cannot continue. The only thing that makes sense is for Canada to become our cherished 51st state. He's not joking. That's what I need everybody to understand. I need you to understand it. I need people in the media to understand it. I need Democratic and Republican politicians to understand it. That's why he keeps saying it. The first time everybody heard it, it was hee hee ha ha, what a silly goofy idea. That would never happen. Isn't that cute? Then it became, okay, I hear the joke, but it's kind of getting a little played out. Then the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth time he says it, it's like, holy shit, this guy is mental. This guy's a lunatic. And he is threatening our top ally. By the way, we discussed the story the other day. He made a military threat to Canada. He said, we're going to renegotiate all the water rights, the Great Lakes and all these things that we share. We're renegotiating all of that because we don't want you to have any access to it. And we don't believe the border treaty that we signed in the early 1900s. We don't think that's right. We want more land for America, so we're going to try to take more of your territory. If you don't agree to be the 51st state, we're going to strangle you economically and steal some of your territory. Again, this is a top fucking ally issuing military threats to a neighborly country that's like we've never had any problem with whatsoever. What am I supposed to do with this guy? Okay, so ready? He announces the extra tariffs, right? And then he does this as well. And you had Doug Ford comes out and says, you know what? We're not going to do the extra tariff on the electricity. We're going to drop that. And so then Trump goes, okay, fine. Then I'll drop my extra tariff too. But he's still tariffing the metal at 25%. And again, you wonder why the markets are reacting. We're doing a tariff, we're not doing a tariff. We're doing a tariff, we're not doing a tariff. We're doing a tariff, we're going to, okay, maybe not do all the tariffs, but partially we're going to do some of the tariffs. And the entire time, the market is tanking, and investors are like, what the fuck? So here we go. Trump threatens, then reverses new Canadian tariffs. This is in Axios. President Trump on Tuesday imposed new retaliatory tariffs on Canada and insisted the only solution was for the country to join the U.S., but then reversed his decision after Ontario agreed not to levy electricity exports. The pullback was the latest example of the on-again, off-again volatility that has disrupted financial markets. By the way, the other thing that's disrupted financial markets is, of course, the massive Doge layoffs for the government. Hundreds of thousands of people losing their jobs. Public spending equals private surpluses. That's what everybody needs to understand. So when you cut public spending, you are effectively also hurting the private market. That's what everybody needs to understand. So the more you cut the government, the more the private sector will also go down. And that's partly what we're witnessing as well, on top of the tariff madness and the volatility and investors being like, what the fuck? And the fact that we're just in a massive tech bubble, right? And China was like, hey, we have an AI that kicks your AI's ass, America. And investors here were like, holy fuck, that's actually true. And then boom, now the bubble is bursting. The AI bubble, the tech bubble, it's bursting, right? And never mind all the problems we have with real estate, for example. So again, really, really dark stuff, but we'll discuss maybe why Trump is doing this in a minute. So they say, however, the initial threat was an escalation, both of the trade war with one of the top U.S. trading partners and of Trump's increasingly serious rhetoric about trying to make Canada part of the U.S. Close allies less than 2 months ago, relations between the U.S. and Canada have now frayed to the point that diplomacy is being conducted by furious TV appearances and social media name-calling. It spurred a sense of Canadian nationalism strong enough to change the course of the country's politics. Now, by the way, one more fact. Ready? Trump asks why the U.S. would allow Canada to supply us with electricity, forgetting he negotiated the USMCA, which allowed it. I know I say this every show, but what the fuck am I supposed to do with this guy? What am I supposed to do with these people? Who made this trade deal? This trade deal is horrible. Now it's terrible. We don't even like this trade deal. This is amazing. You did it. You said we don't like NAFTA. We want to scrap that. We want to do a new trade deal. It's basically NAFTA 2.0. It's the USMCA. You negotiated all the terms. Now this is a horrible trade. We don't even like this trade deal. Whoever did this was very incompetent and very stupid. We have very, very stupid leaders, don't we? It was you. It was you. Okay, so now, again, why is he doing it? It's either deeply ideological, like he actually believes in tariffs despite all the evidence to the contrary, or it is literally for personal profit. There is a nefarious plan behind the scenes where Trump gathers all of his robber baron buddies around, including Elon, and he goes, hey man, watch this. Bet X amount of money shorting the market. Soon as I go out there tomorrow and announce the tariffs, the market's going to plummet. You're going to make a few $1 billion, and then don't worry, at the last minute, I'll roll the tariffs back or roll back the tariffs partly, and then the markets will recover. And he already did this 2 or 3 separate times, but he keeps doing it, and eventually, this old song and dance in and of itself will have a massive effect on the market, and the market will tumble, because again, it's extreme volatility in the market. If you're an investor, why the fuck would you be heavily involved in the market right now when you don't know who's coming or going, you don't know what's up or down, you don't know what the policy is going to be tomorrow or the next day? You're thinking, I'm going to fucking lose money, so you're going to back the fuck off of it, right? And the other option is, of course, literally, he actually is a foreign agent trying to destroy the United States of America. Those are the only options. Massive incompetence and stupidity because he's ideologically married to the idea of tariffs, despite the evidence to the contrary, which is that's like the most charitable reading. And even that is like just untenable for somebody to be the most powerful person in the world and be this fucking ignorant and this incapable of looking at empirical evidence and evaluating the reality, right? So there's that. There's personal profit. Oh, there's one other angle to that too. What he could be doing is, I'm going to put tariffs on this country, I'm going to put tariffs on that country, I'm going to put tariffs on this country. Then what happens? You put those countries in a position where, of course, they don't want the tariffs on them, so they're going to meet with Trump, and basically in the meeting they go,